All right, so this is a pretty complicated program, and we've just we spent about 10 minutes there just trying to get through all of the validation in GetArg. So at this point, we've validated that we have a good board, a good cell, a good player, that we have the right combination, that the board is exactly right, and that the cell is available. So here we are, and right now we're just printing the board. And so let's talk about how we're going to, let's try to pass those unit tests that I gave you. One was for testing the format board works, and the other was finding the winner. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. Here, the first thing that I do is I want to get the board out. Before I do the formatting the board, I actually need to handle modifying the board. And we've talked about this many times, that strings in Python are immutable, and the board is a string of 9 characters. We just went to all this trouble to validate it, but we might need to change the string. We might need to say set the first cell equal to the player X. And so how will we do that? And we've done this many times in our exercises, and I pointed out that strings and lists are very much interchangeable in Python, and that strings are immutable but lists are mutable. And so therefore I'm going to choose to make my board actually to be a list. And so if I go back over here and I say board is equal to the default, and I say what is board, we see it's a string. I can verify the type of board is a string. If instead I say list board, wow, I can't spell this morning, then it's going to turn the string into each of a list of the individual characters. So I know that with that list I can modify one of the positions, and so that's what I'm doing here. I'm changing board into a list, and the reason is because if the player and the cell have been provided to me, I want to change that. So let's look at what that looks like. So if args and player are both provided, then I want to change board at the cell argument, but I need to subtract 1 because I'm showing 1 through 9, but they're actually positions 0 through 8. And I'm going to set that board equal to that player, and then I'm going to print the board now. And if we look at this, the program is going to be, it's going to be different. Oops, I can't do that. Let me go here and let's change cell 9 to be player X. And now we see, oh, that's not, oh, I'm printing args board instead of printing board. So now we see that the last position has been changed to an X because of this. So now we've done what we need to modify the board. Now let's talk about printing that board. So I had this idea that format board is going to take some argument of board, and here it's actually going to be a list, and strings, again, strings and lists are basically interchangeable, so that should be fine. And here's the first thing I'm doing. I'm going to determine what the values for each of the cells is, and I'm going to do this with a list comprehension, and I'm using the enumerate function. So let me go over here, and let's say that board is going to be equal to list of xxx 000 ... And let's look at board and see what it looks like. If I say enumerate board, and well, let me just show you this. It's a lazy function, so it's going to tell me it's this enumerate object. So I need to force it in the REPL by using list. And what I get is a list of tuples now that shows me the index of each value and then the value itself. So xxx has been turned into 0x, 1x, 2x. 000 is now 3x, 30, 40, 50. And let's see, I have, I thought I had some, there we go. The enumerate function here is going to pair up the index with each of the values, and that's what I'm getting out of this. The problem is that I want the counting to start at 1. And so I can do that by telling enumerate to start is equal to 1. And so now those are the cells that I want to display. And so for cell 1, I want to display x for 2x, 3x, all the way down. But when I get to a place where the value is a dot, I don't want to display a dot. I want to display 7, 8, 9. So the board here should look like XXX, 000, 7, 8, 9. And so how will I do that? Let's go back to that code here. This is what I'm doing here. I'm saying, let's go into format board. The cells that I want to show here, I'm going to enumerate the board, and I don't have to say start is equal. I'm just putting here just 1. That's the value to start counting at. So enumerate the board starting from 1 and unpack that into I and C. I for the index, C for the character. And I'm saying I want to print the string version of I, which would be like, for instance, 7, if it's true that the character for that tuple is equal to the dot. Else I want to print the character. So those are going to be the cell values. So let me just take that and let's look at it here. What is cells? It's going to be XXX 000 789. That's cool. That is the board that I want to show. Now I need to get this into that two-dimensional structure of where I'm going to use pipes and dashes or underscores. I can't remember. What is it going to be? Dashes? Yes, dashes and underscores to create that two-dimensional structure. So here I'm creating this bar, which is not as in foo bar, but as like a bar, like a rod. So the bar is going to be this number of dashes, and you know, and I just figured this out. I did it by hand to figure out how many dashes it needed to be. So that's going to be the horizontal separator of the grid. And then for each one of the rows, I'm creating this template, this string template, where it's going to be like XXX 000 789. That's what's going to go in there. And now I need to generate the whole grid, and I'm doing that here with this code. This is going to be 3 separate lines. So I'm creating the 3 lines by well, it's not going to be 3 lines. It's going to be more than that. Sorry. It's going to be the 3 lines, and then the bars, and then the cells. Let's see. Can't remember exactly how I formatted this. And so it's going to be the cells template, and I'm taking the first 3 cells, and then the bar, and then the cells template using the next 3, and then the bar, and then the cells template with the last 3. And this splat here is a shorter way of writing out each one of the individual cell 1, 2, 3. I show that a little bit later. We can look at that in a minute. And so let's see if that works. So instead of printing board, I'm going to print format board, and I just want to look at the output manually. That, oops, looks like we're missing. Are we missing the? Let's see. It looks like that's a little bit off. Maybe this last bar is not necessary. Maybe there's a mistake here. So we're almost there. If I make test, I'll need to. Okay, we're missing a bar at the top. That's what we're missing. Bar, and then a bar. So it is printing, let's see. Oh, it's not printing no winner. But maybe, for instance, if we say pytest-xv and we use our unit test, let's see how we're doing on the unit. We are passing now the board. So test, the format board is working now. We're failing on the winning. So that'll be something that we can take up in the next video.